All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the December 14th regular meeting of the Metropolitan School District of North Posey. And we'll open the meeting by joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody. Our first item on the... Do what? Yeah, go ahead.
So this evening, our vision, we inspire all students to achieve their potential for learning and life in a safe and supportive environment. Our mission, we partner with our community to create a dynamic and innovative educational experience, empowering students to become educated, productive, and responsible citizens. Our core beliefs, we believe our community is vital to our educational success. Everyone is valued and treated with respect, and always telling the truth, an educational opportunity for all, in student-centered programs, challenging and inspiring learning, in the pursuit of excellence through a strong sense of pride. And the board's high priorities are enhancing the student experience, investing in teachers and administrators, fostering strong relationships among all, and maximizing resources. And Mr. President, I also wanted to let the board know that we were going to recognize our two Spellbowl teams at one state this past month. Unfortunately, we have several programs going on in the district tonight, and so we're going to postpone that until January.
Understandable. Thank you for all that. Our next item on the agenda is our patrons' concern, and we have two folks signed up to speak. The first one is Heather Moreland.
Hello, I'm here on behalf of the Poseyville Public Library, and I just wanted to express our sincere thank you from the entire board of the Poseyville Carnegie Public Library and from myself for your board being so instrumental in helping us to accomplish. Last night, they signed the resolution to give me the Robinson Township to the Poseyville Library, the tax dollars. So we finally got it, and we had to do it before the end of the school year, or for the year, before December 31st, and they signed it last night. So that means next year's taxes will be lower for those in Robinson, and they'll collect it for all of 2022. And then beginning in 2023, I will start to get the tax money from Robinson Township. So that is probably a good, right now my budget's about $200,000 a year, and that's going to be probably an additional $100,000 a year. So it's going to be humongous for us.
Awesome.
And you guys really helped me, and I appreciate it so much. Just that little bit of extra help from, you guys backing us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, we appreciate you bringing that to our attention and helping champion that cause. And thanks for all you're doing with the library department.
Thank you very much.
Very well. Next item is Mrs. Lois Gray.
I just had an announcement. I didn't know if you got a chance to see Amy Duvall's teacher talk, but I focused on her. She was Dr. Beth Jones is this week, and she was surgery 2 weeks ago. And she was a very pleasant to interview. And if you haven't seen it, I just wanted to call your attention that it's out there.
Yep. I think that's a great addition to the paper. It's really neat to see the teachers getting some recognition for that.
Good. If you ever have ideas on someone who's doing something cool or should be focused, you let me know.
Yeah, those are, a matter of fact, we had a discussion with a marketing person, and that was one of the suggestions. They had said best practices some other schools were doing and companies were doing employee spotlights. Mm-hmm. And we were like, well, the news is kind of one step ahead of the game. They're already doing that. So good. Congratulations on that.
Good.
All right. Well, that is the end of that list for patrons' concerns. So now up to the minutes, claim docket, and consent items. Entertain a motion to approve those. We want to do let's do the retirements outside of that. Let's do the retirements first. Make sure that's not included.
Well, they're not. These guys, I think, were in black a few months ago, but we will recognize them.
Okay.
When you get to discussion.
All right. So back to entertaining a motion to approve the consent items, claim docket, minutes from November.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent items and minutes.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Colley to approve the claim dockets, consent items, and minutes. Any comments or questions?
So, Mr. President, this evening we have 3 longtime employees who are going to be retiring at the end of December. These 3 people have really, in my opinion, have touched the lives of a lot of our staff and students here in the district. All of them have dealt with our transportation department. If they do not do their job, then our educators, our teachers cannot do their jobs. And so I really just appreciate them. They've taken kids on field trips. They've taken kids to sporting events. Marvin, how long has it been?
50 years.
50 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know your wife, she's subbed for us quite a bit as
50
well.
years.
50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jerry, I know Jerry, this has been an emotional week for Jerry because Jerry's
No.
Jerry's dad was involved in transportation, right? And
He
then,
was there 10, 11 years.
yeah, and then Jerry stepped into it as well. And so this is going to be a big loss to our transportation department, these 3 people. And I wanted to invite them this evening and thank them for their years of service and just how much they've meant to our kids and to our staff. So, yeah.
Y'all hold that boy at school and I'm holding his kids.
Well, Marty, you told me a story about your dad at one of our football games this year of
Driving a truck.
his bus broke down and he had to hook up the
No, his bus didn't come in
okay.
and he took a truck and put the tarp over it and he hauled the kids to school. That's back in 52. You try that today.
So,
Well, I can't imagine playing a high school sport and not having one of you two driving the bus.
Yeah, can we say no?
Yeah, I mean, it was,
We tried.
there was all but one trip. Marby took us to Princeton after a Pike Central game in basketball. I kind of wish you would have just taken us home, but maybe you didn't have full control over that. But I think we all have great stories of you guys. One thing we started, this is definitely one of the cases, but this is a standing ovation for these guys. We appreciate it. Thank you. Those shoes will not be filled.
Oh, somebody.
Marby's actually retired before.
Yeah.
And they had drove for 3 years here. And without them, we wouldn't have brought the kids to school. I tell you that right now. Right now, if them 2 hadn't have stepped up after the first year, it's gonna be tough.
so that's something too that I'll just let the board know. We've tried to aggressively look for bus drivers, for sub-bus drivers. This is, it's not just us, it's happening all across the country. I mean, I know I visit my sister in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and they've got a bus sitting out in front of their school with a sign on it. But, Michelle and I, we were talking this morning, we may be doing some double routes this coming spring and stuff. So just because of the situation we're in. So just kind of be aware of that. We're trying to do as much as we can. We've increased costs for our ECAs and our field trips, and we've given them pay raises and stuff, but there's just nobody wanting to do it anymore. So just be aware of that. I'll make you aware of it if something does happen in that situation. We have to go to a double route or something like that. But
You guys might not hear it, but every kid remembers the bus drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But thank you all. Appreciate it.
Can I ask one thing?
Absolutely.
Can we maybe give the bus drivers a little more praise out? Because some of them feel like they don't get the praise they need. And that's a tough job, I'm telling you. You jump in one of them buses and take off and you got the first grade telling you where to go. You have no clue. Like Mark, that's tough. They have a real tough job. So if there's any way we can tell them we appreciate them, that'd be great. Because it's a tough job. My job's tough, but their job is tough. I'm telling you, I've done it. I've done that stuff, and it's not fun. Driving where you have no clue where a kid lives or going. It's a dangerous situation. It's a tough job. So if any way we can praise them a little more, we need to do that, and I'd appreciate it very much.
Are they in the rotation for the appreciation article?
Well, I was sitting there thinking maybe I could do it.
We need to do, because they do, some of them feel like somebody says, oh, you're just a bus driver. No, you're more than that. That's the first person that kid sees, so.
Yeah.
It's a very important job, it really is.
Watch one of the day.
And
And the
last one during the day, it always preaches in classes that you're the first, so you need, your attitude reflects on them of the morning and evening, how that kid sometimes acts during that day. So they got a very important part of this school. I don't know, I'm not saying you're not doing it, but I think we could do a little more, I really do. My job's just my job, but them guys they're the one that makes it happen. So I fought for them all these years, and I appreciate Marty and Ruth, I really do, because we couldn't have made it the last couple of years without them.
But we appreciate him too.
We really did. I'm done.
You guys want to say anything?
I just, you got something you want to say?
I do.
You said you do have something. You had a.
Well, I just want to thank you guys, or not only you guys, but the previous board members and stuff for giving us the opportunity. I mean, it is a great opportunity. It was for us. It was, farmers didn't have insurance. It was a way of us getting an insurance when we started driving, and it's just like I said, the kids. That's what you miss more than anything. It's just those kids.
It's crazy. I mean,
Makes
I rode the bus for you. You've driven my kids on the bus now.
Yeah. Yep.
Luckily, you haven't driven my grandkids. That's a fortunate.
I've done to 3 generations.
That's crazy.
And it makes their job easier when they do drive like that, because the parents know what kind of people they are.
Right.
Because they was on their bus, and so when they got a problem, they believe that driver. They have a problem. So it makes it better. That's a good relationship when they do that.
No question.
And I do appreciate you guys, and I appreciate working. It's hard to leave. It is. It's really hard. I mean, walk away Friday. I'm going to, so. But I appreciate the opportunity to get to work.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, that's the one thing I told Marvin. I said, it will be something to know that I'm not going to get in that school bus again, because we've done it for 50 years. So we don't know anything else.
Friday, well, it is Friday.
It'll
That's
hit
the
us
last
Friday.
day. We're both driving this week. So,
I'd call Ruth and I'd say, Ruth, how you doing? I really didn't care. Because I wanted to go point. I need you to drive. She always knew. She said, what do you need?
get me a
Or
drive.
get him. I said, Mark, could I have to call her to get him?
Yeah.
But no, we did. These people are what's kept us going for a while right here. These two here. I mean, with others, but these two have really. So I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Some of my greatest memories involve these two right here, and some of my memories I wish I could forget. A couple trips to North Montgomery in particular.
Yeah.
It's been really special having you guys get to drive my kids too.
Enjoyed it.
How long was that bus ride home?
8 hours.
Felt like it.
Well, it felt like it was quiet sometimes. Done
Yeah.
it twice.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should write a book. You know that, right?
Well, I'll just leave it. Let you forget about it.
Wow.
We appreciate it for letting us do it. All the school boards, let us do what we did. We appreciate it.
This is a wonderful school.
Yeah.
North Posey is. I brag on it all the time.
We appreciate it. I think we're all pretty fond of it. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we have
Before you
a,
go, can I get a picture?
go ahead, we'll wait. We're good.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, whatever, stand up, sit there, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, that looks good. I got it. No, that looked nice.
Her mom and dad were my school bus drivers.
Thank you.
All through school. All through school.
Can we go?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very
Yeah.
thank you.
See you. If you're hungry tomorrow, we got the bus bar and Christmas party.
Thank you.
12:30.
You're gonna slip out. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank
She
you.
forwarded me an email from her boss.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on approval of the claim docket consent items. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I almost wrote 5-0 down, but that's wrong. I would want to point out Amy is not with us tonight. She's traveling for work and unavailable to attend. So Greg is tossed into secretarial duties as well tonight. New business, Mr. Galvin. Oh, no, go
Real
ahead.
quick, we also want to point out Leanne Farrar and her years of service to the
Yes.
school as well. So, transportation and food are the two big things. So if you don't feed them and you don't get them here, we don't have a school.
Thanks for pointing that out, Greg. So.
All right, new business, Mr. Galvin.
So I think I've made the board aware that the superintendent at Mount Vernon has unofficially notified us that, or notified me that the Posey County Special Services Cooperative that we're in with Mount Vernon, that they're going to be considering dissolving that cooperative next Monday night at their regular school board meeting. And so they are required underneath the dissolution agreement to notify our district by January of that dissolution, and then dissolution would take effect on July 1st of 2022. So it would be a 6-month window of time that we would be working under to prepare to either become a standalone program. Another option would possibly be to merge with another cooperative, and I have been in conversation with some of our neighboring cooperatives, and another combination would possibly, or another option would be just a combination of those. So maybe we would have our own kind of a director, but still be working in conjunction with a neighboring cooperative or something. So those are the ones we were actually looking at. I gave the board kind of a summary, an executive summary tonight of kind of what we're looking at, those different options, the costs, with the program, kind of the timeline of what we're going to be working under to try to prepare for this. And keep in mind that a majority of our staff are already North Posey teachers and paraprofessionals. So the programs that we are providing to our kids are not going to change at all. This is more going to be at the administrative level. And so we feel like that we're going to continue to provide the outstanding special education program that our kids have known for years, and hopefully as we assume our own program that we can even improve on that and provide even a better approach. So what we are needing to do, just so that we can kind of be proactive in this situation and use as much time as possible, is we're asking tonight that the board give permission to create the following positions: a director of special education, an administrative assistant for the special education director, and the position of school psychologist. What we would like to do is, once you give permission, we'll have job description for those, get those posted. If by some chance Mount Vernon decides not to dissolve or does not follow through with dissolution next week, all we're doing is just posting positions. We're not hiring or anything. We would just pull those down. So, but that's the plan at this point in time. So the other thing I just kind of want the board to make aware of is we're already been in communication with the Department of Education, their special education division up there, just to talk to them about how the grant's going to be handled, how is that transition going to happen, so that we can kind of begin that process and understand that. So any questions that you have or comments or anything like that? So this is going to kind of be a working document. We'll continue to add things, and I'll kind of continue to get this to you. Like I said, the director is really a pivotal position because they guide the whole program. And so especially as we begin to develop our policies, our procedures, our processes, the paperwork, and those kinds of things, we want to make sure that that person is kind of guiding that program. And so we hope to have that director's position hired possibly at the latest February, to where that person can come on board and kind of begin working with Jackie Meyer and learning how our kids are, where they are and those kinds of things, and really begin that process and stuff. So that's the recommendation, sir, for consideration.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to create the positions Mr. Gelman stated.
Second.
I'll second that.
So a motion by Mr. Oakley, seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the creation of the positions of Director of Special Education, Administrative Assistant for Special Education, and School Psychologist as presented by Mr. Galvin. Comments, questions?
Basically, these three people will run the department, interact with all of our special ed teachers.
Yep.
Okay, I just saw on this additional programming. Is this additional program that we're adding that has not been there before? or-
No, today we met with Jackie. This was our first kind of planning session to help with the dissolution. And they shared with us that a couple of things that the Special Education Cooperative is doing that we did not know they were doing. And so they do assessments of what's called First Steps program. This is for birth to 3-year-old kids. And then also monthly preschool screenings for 3 to 5-year-olds. That includes a speech therapist as well as school psychologist. So, the speech therapist is already a position we contract with. Actually, I think we have a speech teacher. So some of these positions we're going to share still with Mount Vernon, or we may contract out with like Easter Seals or something like that to provide the services that we need and stuff. But those additional programming, those were some additional things that the co-op was doing that they were making us aware of that they do that we'll now have to do. So
We're really at the mercy of decisions being made in Mount Vernon for this timeline and the creation of these positions.
So what happened is Lauren Evans, who's our financial person, is retiring in December, and so I think some of it was that he wanted, to kind of wrap this up for them, so that I think next December wrap this up for them, so that we were off their books and we were a standalone program, and they kind of had their own program. So that I think that's some of the reasons why they're kind of moving along, hastening it is to make things a little bit easier for the person who's coming in. So.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
Just so, and I think I've spoken to all board members, but I want our public to know, this is not a program by us assuming it that we're going to save money on. Best case scenario is we may break even. Most likely it will probably cost us a little bit more. So just be aware of that, as we move forward and stuff. Special education is one of those programs that when you have a knock at the door and you have a high needs kid that comes in, you're providing those services. There's not a lot of choice. It's a federally, there's federal law that guides that program and stuff. So, but we'll work through it. We'll address it and make sure that we have something that's a good quality, high expectations program for our kids. So, thank you. Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay.
You're still up.
Next up this evening, we have received the Teacher Appreciation Grant. We receive from the Department of Education every year, and as you know, this is only for certified teachers only. A few years ago, our school counselors were included in that. They are no longer included in that. They are now considered outside of that group and not involved at all with instruction according to the language of the law. So what we are coming to the board asking for is to recognize our other employee groups at the same time that we do our tag policy or tag recommendation for our teachers. The tag teachers approximately are going to get about $528.53. This is going to be your highly effective person. You can kind of see there what we're recommending for building administrators at $528.53. Bus drivers, 200. Food service staff, 200. Classified staff, this is non-certified employees, 300. And then our part-time classified staff, $200. So those are the recommendations for our, stipends, bonus, whatever you want to call them, for people outside of the tag appreciation grant. So you guys have to give permission for us to pay those individuals.
And just for clarification, the counselors are part of this other certified staff that's not
Correct.
covered, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is and we're paying those the same amount as what we would the tag
Yes.
teachers.
And the tag teachers are our teachers that are effective or highly effective, is that what you said?
Yes, underneath the law, they have to be highly effective or effective, and there's a difference between those two. So like,
But there's not a difference on what they get there.
yes,
Oh, there is?
yeah. So highly effective gets the 528.53, and then your effective teachers are getting 422.82.
Depending on their post or brief status as well, that changes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That
What is
was,
their post-retirement, pre-retirement? So,
Do we-
that's not on here though, is it?
no,
We did that previously, so we do evaluations on administrators and counselors, correct?
Mhm.
So could we write this to match the same as what the certified are,
That's
so
what
that
we
we
do.
are being consistent in the fact that,
That's
is
what we
that
do.
is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's
So
what we're
if.
Yeah.
Okay,
Your other certified staff are getting the same formula.
so if we would have a counselor who is not getting an evaluation of effective or highly effective, they wouldn't get paid.
They would not get it. They would not
They
get a
would-
tag grant. Correct.
Same way with the administrators,
Right.
if we would have an administrator.
And what we've done in the past is that the district, I think, has practiced in the past that if you received an evaluation at your previous school district and had that documentation, then we recognize that.
Okay.
So we had a lot of new teachers come in this year, so we recognize those things. Yeah.
I think that's helpful to be consistent.
The classified staff, is that aides or is that
Yes,
secretarial
that's your
staff? or-
aides, that's your nurses, custodial, secretaries, yeah, classified staff.
Do you know off the top of your head, this tag grant through the years, has it dropped? Or has it been?
Yeah, it was up a little bit.
It started out higher and then went.
Okay. And I remember, probably about 2 or 3 years ago, you probably saw, the Carmel Fishers area, there was, the tag grant came out and their teachers were getting like $2,000-3,000 and, smaller districts were only getting like $400 or $500, and that was not a good situation. So they've tried to clean it up a little bit, but, it's still what it is.
And to be clear, this money is not coming from the tag grant. This is money that's outside the tag grant.
Correct.
We're just being
Yeah.
Using that as a
consistent with the
guideline.
tag grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tag grant, I mean, when we receive it, we're required to spend it, I think, within 20 days of receiving it. Yeah. So it's a quick turnaround. Yeah.
Somebody knows that because they had to process it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So,
All right. Entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the recommendation by Mr. Galvin to pay a stipend to the employee groups, according to the chart on page 3.
Second.
Second that.
So a motion by Mr. Colley, seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the payout of stipends as presented by Mr. Galvin. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You're still up.
okay, next up this evening is we have a proposal from Hafer Architectural Contract. We receive what's called ARP funds from the federal government. Much like the ESSER funds that we receive, what this is for though is this is for special education students. We've worked with Jackie down at the cooperative to try to understand exactly what that money can be spent on. It can only be spent on your current special education students. So like, for example, I couldn't go out and do training on my teachers to help them with response to interventions or things like that. It has to be on my current special education teachers. Approximately what we're getting as a district right now is $84,000, and that's a pretty big chunk of money, and you have a very short time period to spend that money. Beyond us going out and purchasing a new bus or something like that, it was really going to be difficult for us to get through $84,000. I think you have to have it spent by 2023 in that short of a window because the needs just aren't there sometimes. So what we have recommended, and this was something that Todd had showed me before he left, was our life skills classrooms, which is room 108 and 109 at the junior high school, has a little kitchenette area in there and stuff. It has kind of been on our list to get remodeled. You know, we actually, quite honestly, we were talking here in central office one day, and Carol Luper was one. She goes, "Why don't you spend the money on that?" And I thought, what a great idea. This is a great opportunity. So we called the state. They agreed that this was something that we could spend the money on. So that's what we're mainly doing, is Hafer is going to do the design work on this. If you don't know about that kitchenette right now, mainly what they've got in there is that they're pumping up the water and stuff. They're pumping up to the ceiling and then going out. So we want to clean that up a little bit, put some new cabinetry in. We're wanting to kind of make it a little bit more of a life skills classroom, where there's some things, you know, like a bed put in there for them to make, you know, kind of a sink area for them to be able to brush their teeth, teach them how to do that, those kinds of life skill kinds of things. And so what we're asking is this proposal from Hafer to approve it, and then we're going to begin design work, and hopefully the plan is to remodel those 2 classrooms over the summer. So
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposal from Hafer Architectural to do the renovation project.
Second. A motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Oakley, to approve the life skills room projects as presented by Mr. Galvin. Any comments or questions?
Sounds like a great use of the funds.
I have substituted down in those classrooms, and they do remarkable things with those kids sometimes, and I think this is a great place to use it.
Totally agree. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
next up this evening, you have an MOU for data sharing with the Southern Indiana Education Center and North Posey. As you know, we are gone into a agreement on a grant with SIEC for a career technical education director. We've hired Jody Rankin to come in and serve in that capacity. So this is just more or less allowing us to share data with them, like maybe our student iLearn data. Mainly they're focusing on our junior high or 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So I just want to make sure the board approved that we were able to share that data with them before we start proceeding with that. So
entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU for data sharing with SIEC.
Second.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by Mr. Oakley, seconded by Mr. Colley to approve the MOU for data sharing as presented by Mr. Galvin. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
next up this evening, you have a request from Mr. Fisher to close the credit cards through Fifth Third Bank that's currently being assigned to North Posey High School. And then the junior high would assume their own credit card accounts. I think what they were doing was both of them were on the same account, and you know, I think they want to split it out now. So,
Entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we follow Mr. Fisher's recommendation on the credit card accounts and closing the one and leaving North Posey Junior High on.
Second.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Colley, seconded by Mr. Oakley to approve the credit card recommendation as presented by Mr. Galvin. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
we're excited this evening to bring forward a request from Mr. Kavanaugh. The administrative team has been discussing this probably for about the past year and a half, 2 years. We've been hearing a lot from some of our elementary schools in the community, parochial schools that are currently offering archery programs about that,
would be nice if North Posey Junior High or High School offered this program. About probably 7 or 8 years ago, I started this program at Fort Branch. The national, I think it's National Archery Federation, I think is who does it. I'm not sure if that's the actual terminology for them or not, but what they do is they provide a grant. And so you mainly just have to do a $500 payment to them. That doesn't in no way, shape, or form covers the entire cost, but they bring in bows, arrows, nets, targets for you. They put all your staff through the program, the training, those kinds of things, and it's a great opportunity for us to actually begin teaching this. And then what happens is once you've started this program, then you can actually begin to have an archery team, both at the junior high and high school. And so this is kind of the foundation for us to begin that process of moving towards that. If you do or do not know, archery is a great sport to be involved in. We have a lot of kids and families that hunt around here, but also archery is one of those sports that as we've talked tonight, special education kids can participate in as well. I've seen students who are missing limbs being able to participate in archery and be very successful at it. Gibson Southern, this year, actually one of our kids that I had at Fort Branch, I think he's a senior this year, he actually went to the nationals and competed. So it's definitely something that all kids can excel at that may not excel at something else. So it's a great step forward for us as a district to begin this process, and I think it's great that Steve's taking this on and beginning this program. So bring that forward for your consideration this evening.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we pursue the grant for the archery club.
Second.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Oakley. Any comments or questions?
Is this just junior high?
I was going to ask that same question.
So at this point in time, it is just junior high, but what we would like to see happen is it can be extended down to elementary, and it can also eventually go up to the high school as well.
Is this an indoor
Yes.
training?
Yes.
What do they use to catch the arrows that don't hit the targets?
So they actually provide you with a large net. It says that they're one archery net. And so usually you do this over a 10-day, 2-week period. You talk to them. It's a very, very safe situation. I was trained in it as well when we went through it, but you have a big archery net. It's like a great big, I won't say it's a sheet because it's really not a sheet, but and you put a cable up, it hangs from that cable, and so it just catches those arrows that goes past.
How real are these arrows? I mean, are they arrows?
It's a blunt, it's a blunt tip.
Yep. So, but that's why they take a 2-week. That's why you train the teachers to handle it, because there's a very specific way that you do it. I mean, like when you were going out to retrieve arrows and stuff, no one is even allowed to be holding the bow at that time. You set that down. There's, if I remember correctly, there's like a holder that you hang it on, and everyone does that. The teacher, that NASP whistle there, that whistle is how the teacher communicates when you are allowed to pick up your quiver or your bow and arrows and stuff and those kinds of things. It's a very, very specific program.
How many schools around here have an archery program? Most of them do, don't they?
Yeah.
I think
Quite a few.
all of Warwick County.
It's huge in Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky schools, I mean, it's a really big program, and it's slowly kind of moved up into Indiana here. So.
I think this is a really good opportunity for us. I'd really like to see us use this as a jumpstart to see how we can implement this corporate-wide by the start of school year next year.
I've already had someone who's bringing, I don't want to specifically say he would, but bringing his son over next year from St. Wendell. His son will be coming here, and who's a volunteer to already lead our team the high school actually. So we started to.
You mean it's like a high school coach? The staff that we're training, I can't find it, I've lost it right now. The staff that we train, those are our staff members.
Correct. Those are PE teachers.
be
So
like-
what this has done is this is one of your, you know how you usually do your PE, you do certain, lessons
Right.
for a week. That's what this would be.
So
is
we would
PE
train
teachers.
Mrs. Vogel and Mr. Gentile and.
And I bet money that, because it has their training for 4 teachers, I bet probably we're also going to train our elementary people too. So.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
You have there the request from Mark Kirkman for the state baseball clinic.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the professional leave request.
I'll
So-
second.
Go ahead.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Mr. Oakley, seconded by Mr. Colley to approve the professional leave request. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Out of order, I forgot to ask this back in our claim docket, but it seemed like we had several extended absent requests of like 6 days and that sort of thing. I know historically we had approved those on an exception basis. It seems like those are getting more and more. Is that becoming problematic? Is that?
We've watched those a little bit. I think the biggest thing that we've talked about here in central office is we have people now that are missing days that don't have days. So they're just taking an unpaid day. Is that right?
These aren't.
These aren't, but that's really what's becoming the biggest issue.
Your sub cost is what it's an issue with.
Yeah.
I mean, sub cost right now is astronomical.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to be callous, but at the same time, I mean, it seems like we're paying for people to go on vacation and the corporation is bearing the cost of their replacement to go on vacation. And I understand there's outlying situations that happen beyond our control that people need to be off. So I want to fall short of making it a policy that we don't do this, but I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. It just hit me like a brick that, man, there's a lot of these.
And the bad thing is contractually, if they have the number of days to be able to do it, I mean, the board approves those, but you could get into a situation of where they file a grievance or something like that. So,
We're talking sick days.
well, here we just have
It's not
leave
personal,
days.
so we just have leave days.
Leave days,
Okay.
yeah.
So is that
So they
every
can be for
contract or is that
anything?
on, is it aides and non-certs?
Yeah,
certs
aides and non-certs are, Amy, you want to talk a little bit about it? Is there a difference on the days or they have leave days too?
We have leave days as well. We get 12 where the teachers get 16. So, I mean, your cafeteria, your bus, all the other classified staff, we all get 12 days. And then teachers are going to get 16 days. And then, I mean, they're not a use or lose. All but 3 of those days in each bucket, if you don't use them, they can accumulate up. And then, if something was to happen and you did have to have some type of surgery or anything like that, that's in my mind what those accumulated days should be for.
But our contracts don't stipulate that these are sick days or vacation days or
No,
whatever.
we did
These
away
are,
with that years ago. It
these are
used to
just
be-
leave days, so.
They're just leave days. They're just PTO basically.
So as long as they have them,
Yeah.
they're fine.
And you're having
We
a,
have the speculation in the teacher contract that if they're using more than 3 days, we have the right to ask them for a reason for. And we have gone a step to say, if you're going to take more than 3 consecutive days, you need to get board approval for it. So I want to make sure that the board is aware that these are being used for these purposes and sometimes it's there. And so I mean, that comes out of your education bucket.
I've seen people take leave days for all kinds of different reasons without getting specific. And I just remember when I taught, we practically had to bring a doctor's excuse if we were taking a sick day, and that it was never leave days, it was sick days. So
no,
these
Brad
are- if
and I
somebody-
talked about it. And Brad has actually been talking, he said that he was going to talk to the Teachers Association because exactly what Amy said. I mean, really, quite honestly, at the end of the day, it's coming out of their pots that we give pay raises with, so I mean, not only, and that's kind of what I've talked to Brad about is not only are you paying for the sub, but you're still paying for that teacher if they have a day. And, I mean, when you're taking out $100,000 annually for subs, that's $100,000 less that they could be putting into their pockets. So, but I think it's definitely something. I even saw it up there, Jeff. It's a change in generations as well. Used to, I mean, I was kind of with you, the generation of where I wanted to hang on to my days because I knew at the end I was going to get that payout. The new generation nowadays, it's like, I've got them, I'm going to use them almost, so.
Well, you don't get the payout that you got back then either.
No.
Yeah, well, we got $10 a day or something. I don't know what it was,
But it is
also you were encouraged, you did not take one of those personal days we talked about, the day right before vacation or right after vacation. It's hard for me to.
Yeah, I didn't know what other corporations are doing. It's good to get clarification from this.
Yeah.
It just seemed like this was a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something that's kind of like not normally, it's not a routine approval like a professional leave is. It's like, whoa, wait, we've got more than one here. And they all kind of seem like they're vacations. They're not.
The one with Cody, that is for his birth of his baby.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we're working on that one. I think we're going to move that over to an FMLA situation. So.
And I know in the past it seemed like
it wasn't listed that way. So
He's refused to do it.
Yeah. So.
In the past we've approved some of these. They were once in a lifetime trips. Now they're becoming routine trips.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know what if there is anything to be done other than just discuss it. But anyway, thanks for the clarification.
Well, to me, if a person's a professional and they're a teacher in this, they're gonna look at these dates and they're gonna schedule time when time's available and not just say, oh, let's summer use 7 days this year to tour Europe or something.
All right. Reports.
Okay, reports. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our process for financial dual controls. And as we talked a little bit in executive session tonight, there's been some rumors circulating about financial issues with the athletic department, booster clubs, questions being asked about that. And I just kind of wanted to address those situations because, number one, it attacks the integrity of the district, attacks my integrity and my leadership, and as well as kind of been focused towards Waylon Shank. And so I wanted to just, as we talked amongst the board, how best do we get this information out and how best do we communicate to our public about, what steps are being taken. And as we talked earlier this evening, when these kinds of things come up, it doesn't matter who the employee is, we're going to investigate them. I take them very seriously. I want to make sure that, number one, for the protection of the employee, and number two, for the protection of the district, I want to make sure that we thoroughly go through and we look at those situations and stuff. And, one of the things that we had very early on, about a month or so ago, was just some question about, the Viking Football Club. And as we've talked, the board really has no direct authority over these booster clubs. We work with them to support our athletic programs. Some of them have governing boards that meet on a monthly basis. The public is allowed to attend those meetings. They have budgets for their funds that they raise, and they help to support our athletic programs in the district. But there was some concern with Waylon about whether he had fulfilled some of the sponsorships with this past year. What I did was I approached Mrs. Lingenfelter, who was our district deputy treasurer. We have a new treasurer at the high school, which was Mrs. Carolyn Price. And we went through and we examined donations. But then we found out that the Viking Football Club had done it. So it really hadn't come through the ECA accounts. It had gone through the Viking Football Club. So at that time, I then approached Mrs. Amy Fisher, who was the treasurer for the Viking Football Club, and asked, if she could answer some of these questions. And her and Waylon sat down and worked through, determined that all the sponsors were appropriately recognized. And that Mr. Shank had even gone to extremes this year of making sure that those sponsors who had provided funds to the district last year still kept those banners up, because we had COVID last year. We didn't have a lot of our audiences in for our sporting events. So we still wanted to recognize those individuals. So we felt like we addressed that issue. There was no improprieties or anything like that. Waylon had made sure to turn that money, that checks, into Mrs. Fisher as the Viking Football Club if it came through the school, and was taken care of. As far as Waylon's control and management of the athletic program funds, we have what's called dual controls in the district. And what dual controls means is that there are multiple people who have to approve an expenditure. Even for myself, I can't just walk out and make an expenditure. I have to, do a requisition. There has to then be a purchase order created. If I then go purchase that item, I then have to submit that receipt back into the treasurer, who then would cut the check and pay for it. So there are several steps that we are legally required by the Department of Local Government Financing to make sure that we have in place. And they look at those steps and make sure that those are done. Each of our schools, our treasurers receive training, if not annually, biannually, on ECA funds, how to handle those funds, and how to take care and make sure that we are doing everything according to the Department of Local Government Financing. And then in addition to that, on a monthly basis, all of our treasurers have to upload all of their ECA reports to the Department of Local Government Finance, that then audit those reports to make sure that there are no red flags. If there are red flags, then they would come on site and actually do an audit. And we have not had any issues in those. And then in addition to that, every 2 years, the Department of Local Government Finance comes down and actually does an audit of our accounts and stuff. So the question about Mr. Shank managing that athletic program funds, he follows those things. He does not have a checking account. He himself does not have any money. He has to go through Mr. Fisher, the school principal, and follow those same kinds of things that everyone else has to do. Getting a requisition made, purchase order, turning the receipts in, and then he gets reimbursed. So wanted to make everyone aware of that situation. Another rumor that came up as well is North Posey athletic program charging money to play soccer. Kind of a pay for play or pay for play program. According to Indiana law, school corporations are not permitted to charge students a fee to play sports. That's just not permitted. So the funds that were being charged were coming through the booster club, the soccer booster club. And so students were paying those funds. I think the coaches were collecting them. So Mr. Shank and I have talked a little bit about that to make sure that is understood, that this is the booster club that's asking for these funds. And what the booster club is then doing is just supporting that program. They may be recognizing the seniors at senior night. I think they buy a bank blanket for them or something like that. Those types of things. So we wanted to clarify that this is not something that we are doing, and that this is one of our booster clubs that is collecting the money to kind of continue to support our programs and stuff. So, as I stated, I wanted to come to the board in a public session so that our public understands that when these kinds of things come up, they will be investigated, they will be determined, and we will report back of what the situation is. But we live in a culture nowadays of where when people they try to start rumors, and they can try to keep that rumor circulating until it becomes truth. We've seen that on the federal level, and we don't want that to continue here. There are great things happening. We have some great people in place. We are doing some great things, and we want to continue that program. And we don't want these kinds of rumors to be circulating out there and causing false stories and stuff. So I felt like it was important for us to come to the board tonight and answer these and address these in a public forum. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those for you. So.
COVID-19 update, we're doing good. It's interesting that the protocols that we put in place has been actually adopted by several other districts across the state of Indiana. So we're doing very well. Knock on wood. To my knowledge, our close contacts that have been following our quarantine protocol, which is mainly still allowing them to come to school, they have to mask up and they have to check in with the nurse on a daily basis to do temperature checks. To our knowledge, none of those kids have come down with COVID. So we're happy that we're able to keep them in school, keep them participating in the education. So our numbers have not looked that bad. A lot of the kids that are quarantined right now have mainly been from parents testing positive, and then the family is kind of all quarantined. So knock on wood, we're doing well. So just wanted to kind of keep that out there, and it's Jeff and I have had several conversations about this. We're moving on with our kids. Tonight we've got North Elementary program, Christmas program going on. Tomorrow night, South Terrace Christmas program going on. So we're trying to return to as much of a normal school year as possible. So we're excited about that. Other thing that you have in your packet this evening is the schedule for the 2022 school board meeting dates. Our next meeting, of course, will be January the 10th on that Monday evening of 2022. And I believe that's your reorganization meeting. Is that correct? So, yeah. And Mr. President, that's all I have for you this evening.
I'll reiterate, probably the first question I get asked as we go to a basketball game or something at a different district is, how are you guys doing with COVID, or how, what are you doing with this? And it's an interesting position for our school district to be a leader in how we're handling the COVID protocol, and other districts, and irregardless of size, 1A school, 4A school are coming to us and saying, asking questions, wanting to kind of mirror what we're doing. So I commend our community, I commend our staff, our board, our administrators. This has been a true community type of willingness to move forward with this, and we appreciate. We have not had. I don't believe we've had the issues locally that others are having throughout the state and the country. I sat into a school board president's meeting for Region 9, and it was an hour and a half long, and an hour and 20 minutes was about COVID. And so I just sat there and listened, because I was like, well, that doesn't pertain to us, But anyway, so thank you everybody who's had a part in that. Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause?
I just have a quick question. Those stipends you voted tonight, are those going to be like Christmas presents? Are you getting them very soon? Are they getting them very soon?
Payroll's done for December 24th already, so these will, since it's not approved till tonight, pushing to have them on the January 7th.
Oh, so they'll get me after the year.
Well, the tag stipend that went to the teachers that qualified for tag, they were processed and they will be paid on December 24th pay.
Oh, that's nice. So they get it.
But the other ones will not.
Okay, thank you.
Timing of the board meeting did not allow that.
Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause? All right.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a great time with your family and friends, and pray that you enjoy the reason for the season.
The next meeting's January 10th, like Mr. Galvin said, it's our reorganization meeting, so we'll meet back here. That entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. A motion by Mr. Colley, seconded by Mr. Oakley. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
School bus thing tomorrow is 12:30.
Yep.